In 1916, a group of like-minded golfers from across the state of Georgia gathered together to create a championship that would identify the best golfer in the state of Georgia. Out of that meeting, the Georgia State Golf Association was born. The association would not have to wait long to establish itself as one of the most prominent golf associations in the country, as the first Georgia State Amateur Championship would set into motion the greatest amateur golf career in the history of the game. The first Georgia Amateur Championship was won by a skinny 14-year-old kid from Atlanta. That kid was golf's immortal, Bobby Jones.
We're celebrating 100 years of the Georgia State Golf Association, and I think that people should really stop and give some thought to what that really means. Golf in the state of Georgia has, in more than most other states, has really led the way for the entire country. The GSGA has done so much for the development of the game in Georgia, and now through sponsorship of different youth programs, different scholarship funds. And it's really hard to believe that it started as this very small organization that held an amateur tournament in 1916 that was won by this 14-year-old boy named Robert Tyre Jones Jr. Because of the GSGA, he did, and that's why, in fact, Bub's image is on the Centennial logo, Bub's swinging profile. My family felt so strongly about the GSGA and its mission that we gave permission for Bub's image to be used on the logo. So we are very, very committed to the GSGA and its purposes.
Jones would stay connected to the GSGA for many years, and 1 year removed from his legendary Grand Slam and retirement from competitive golf, Bobby Jones was elected to the GSGA Board of Directors and would serve as a vice president of the association. After a decade of amateur championships, Robert H. Martin, a member of the Capital City Club, donated a permanent trophy in 1925 that would be presented annually to the champion of the state amateur. The amateur world would experience incredible growth in the coming decade, and by 1929, qualifying was implemented prior to the event in order to reduce the field to 128 players. The championship identified the best players ever to play golf in those years, including Georgia greats Charlie Yates, Tommy Barnes, and Watts Gunn. But as national attention switched to World War II, the championship experienced a 4-year hiatus. When the war ended and golf returned, a new cast of characters began collecting amateur championships. Arnold Bloom of Macon, Georgia, would capture the championship 4 times. Tommy Aaron would win the title in 1957 and again in 1960. In the 50s and 60s, characters like Charlie Harrison, Willie Dynamite Goodloe of Valdosta, and future GSGA President Pete Cox would add their names to the Robert H. Martin Trophy. It was during this time that the association began to take on a larger role in helping the game of golf. In 1959, the association began donating $100 annually to a turfgrass research fund, and this tradition continues today, with the GSGA donating $10,000 annually each year to the Georgia Golf Environmental Foundation. In 1966, the Georgia Junior Championship was established, and the inaugural event was played at Athens Country Club. Shortly thereafter, the association's first women's event, the Greater Atlanta Women's Amateur, was established in 1970. As golf grew more popular throughout the state of Georgia, a need arose for the GSGA to take a more active role in governing golf. Up until 1971, the individual clubs would establish their own handicaps for member play, causing inconsistency and conflict on the golf course. That changed when the GSGA began implementing the USGA handicapping system throughout the state. The need for daily interaction with the member clubs grew, and in 1973, the Board of Directors hired the GSGA's first executive director, Floyd Doss. The GSGA soon after launched its extensive course rating program, relying on its large core of volunteers to conduct nearly 100 course ratings and updates each year. As more and more clubs joined the association, the GSGA grew as well. Through the guidance of the Volunteer Board of Directors, the GSGA would make major strides in service throughout the 70s and 80s, adding the Computers for Clubs program and launching the Georgia Junior Sectional program. Perhaps no other program has played such a key role in developing junior players over the past 40 years.
how important golf is in the state of Georgia because of the Masters and Bobby Jones and Georgia Golf and just a lot of great players. So it's a really big deal. So it took maybe even me stepping away from the state, because I grew up here and that's kind of all I knew, for me to understand how really big it was, how big junior golf is and college golf is in the state of Georgia.
This era also saw a boom of talent flow through the GSGA as numerous players flourished at both the local and national level. In particular, the state continues the tradition of cranking out great female talent. In recent years, the state of Georgia has taken 4 of the 12 women's state team championships conducted by the United States Golf Association. The Georgia State Golf Association also launched its foundation in the 1970s. Named after longtime USGA Green Section agronomist James B. Monty Moncrief. The foundation began funding scholarships to turfgrass students. The first round of scholars even included future GSGA president Chuck Palmer. Over the years, the foundation expanded its reach to provide secondary education scholarships to employees or the family members of employees at GSGA member clubs. The association scholarship program would be named after the first family in Georgia golf and is now known as the Yates Scholarship Program. It was certainly a timely decision, as Danny Yates would become the 3rd Yates family member to win the Georgia State Amateur following Charlie and Danny Yates Sr. during the 70s and 80s. The GSGA Foundation is now given over $3.5 million in scholarships and is currently providing assistance to nearly 100 young men and women attending universities and colleges throughout the United States. On the course, Alan Doyle would begin his incredible run at the Georgia State Amateur, winning nearly half the state amateur titles played from 1978 to 1990. His incredible total of 6 amateurs is one that will likely never be equaled. During Doyle's reign, the Georgia State Golf Association launched the first issue of Golf Georgia magazine in 1998. The magazine has been a staple in the golf community ever since. The magazine continues to feature the hot topics facing the game of golf in Georgia today, with 6 issues annually. By 1996, the Georgia State Golf Association reached 300 members and would launch its first website, gsga.org, the very next year. In recent years, only 3 players have won more than one state amateur championship: Carter Mize in '93 and '94, David Knoll Jr. in 2003 and 2011, and current PGA Tour member Russell Henley in 2008 and 2009. After the state of Georgia defunded the Georgia Golf Hall of Fame in 2010, the GSGA rallied to take ownership of the Hall of Fame and now administers the annual banquet and the recognition of Georgia golf greats. Today, the Georgia State Golf Association serves 75,000 golfers and 340 member facilities throughout the state. The association's mission has changed very little over the first 100 years.
The GSGA does so many, I think, different things that we try to advance amateur golf in the state the best that we possibly can. We do that by forging some relationships with many organizations, our member clubs, some commercial sponsors, to try to do whatever we can to be able to extend the reach of the GSGA throughout amateur golf in the state. And we do that a number of different ways, and it's just terrific being able to say at 100 years later, we're still going strong and we're going to get better.
What does the future hold?
My tenure, when I leave, the GSGA will be in a better spot than it was when we came in. We're in a terrific position then. We've got great leadership. We've got a fabulous staff that's the absolute core, and we have so many volunteers that I think it's going to continue on. We're going to find new ways to support amateur golf in the state that maybe we haven't even thought of yet, but it's going to continue. It's going to be terrific.
Georgia State Golf Association, promoting and serving the game of golf since 1916.